Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. Welcome to my video. This is my learning video. So today I'd like to talk about one of the most successful companies in the world. So when people hear about the word Apple, they usually think about iPhone, MacBook, AirPods, or maybe Steve Jobs. You know that Apple is one of the most valuable and influential technology companies in history. Many people think that Apple became successful because it creates great products. Yeah, that's true. However, in 2020, Apple faced an important challenge. Uh, the the company the company needed to decide how it will continue growing in the future. And for many years, Apple earns most of its money from selling hardware such as iPhones, iPads, and Mac computers. But by 2020, the things were changing. And then the smartphone market was becoming major. So most people already owned smartphones. New phones were still better than old ones, but the improvements were not as revolutionary as before. So as a result, customers start to keep their phone longer. This means Apple could no longer depend only on hardware sales. At the same time, the company was facing global challenges such as the US-China trade war, and then supply chain uncertainty, and then the COVID-19 pandemic. That's the three of the factor. And because of these challenges, Apple had to ask an important question. So what's the question? Yeah, what should Apple become in the future? So should it continue try to focus mainly on hardware, or should it transform into a company that earns more money from services and digital ecosystems? And today, we are going to discuss about Apple's hardware maturity crisis, and then why Apple tried to shift toward the services, and then the power of Apple's ecosystem, and then Apple's strategic dilemma, and then lessons for schools and organizations, and then leadership lessons from Tim Cook and Steve Jobs. Okay, let's begin. For many years, the iPhone was the Apple biggest success. Every new iPhone attracted millions of customers. People were so excited about the larger screens, better cameras, faster performance, and the new designs. As a result, Apple's revenue to grew rapidly, and the company became one of the most profitable business in the world. However, no market can grow forever. by 2020, the smartphone industry had reached a mature stage. Most consumers already owned smartphones, and in many countries, smartphone adoption was already very high. Because of this, there were fewer new customers available. Uh, Another issue was that smartphones had become more durable, and then people could use their phones for 3, 4, or even 5 years, and they no longer needed to upgrade it every year. And as a result, iPhone sales growth started slowing down, and this created a major of challenge for Apple. And then, if customers buy fewer devices, how can the company continue growing? This is known as a maturity crisis, and many successful companies face these problems. When a product becomes mature, and then growth becomes harder to achieve, so Apple needed a new strategy. And then, for the external challenges, Apple also faced challenges outside the company. Uh, One major challenge was the trade conflict between the United States and China. And then, Apple depended heavily on Chinese factories for manufacturing. So for any disruptions, it could affect production and also increase the cost. Then, come COVID-19. So the pandemic affected business around the world, and factories temporarily closed, and then about the supply chains become unstable, and then stores had fewer visitors, and also many customers become more careful about spending their money. And then from these challenges, it created uncertainty. Apple was under pressure from both internal and also external factors. And then the company needed a strong leadership and also a clear direction. Uh, Tim Cook's leadership, at this time, Apple led by Tim Cook. And you know that Tim Cook became a CEO after Steve Jobs when he passed away in 2011. Many people compared him to Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was known or famous as a visionary leader. He introduced about the revolutionary products and also inspired people through the innovation. And then Tim Cook had a different style. Uh, he focused on operations, and then efficiency, and then planning, and also a long-term strategy. Some people initially doubt whether he could lead Apple successfully. However, when Tim Cook understood about something important, Apple needed more than great products. It needed a sustainable business model. And then this understanding would shape Apple's future. And then the next shift to the services. Apple realized that even if hardware sales slowed down, and it still had something extremely valuable. It had more than 1 billion active. It had more than 1 billion active users worldwide, and yeah, think about that for a moment. More than 1 billion people were already using Apple products. This gave Apple an incredible opportunity. Instead of instead of selling a device once, Apple could provide ongoing services. This became the company's new growth strategy. And then what is it? Apple extended. No, I mean Apple expanded service such as Apple Music, and then Apple TV Plus, and then Apple Arcade, and then Apple Pay, and then Apple Care, and then how did I say it? iCloud. These services allowed Apple to earn what is it? To earn about the recurring revenue. Uh, Recurring revenue means that the customers continue paying every month and every year. For example, if someone subscribes to Apple Music, they pay regularly, and instead of making only one purchase. From this, it creates a more stable source of income, and then the company becomes less dependent on about hardware sales. And from this strategy helped Apple create stronger relationships with customers. um, Instead of interacting with customers only when they buy a new device, Apple could engage with them every day. So about the question, why services are so important over several advantages? Yeah, because the first, they create a predictable revenue, and then companies can estimate future income more accurately. And then the second, they improve about customer loyalty, and the customer who use multiple Apple services are more like to stay within the Apple ecosystem. The third, services often have higher profit margins. It means that Apple can earn more profit from each customer. Tim Cook understood that services could become a major engine of growth, and he was right. Over time, Apple service businesses became one of the fastest growing parts of the company. Uh, this transformation helped Apple to continue growing slower, despite slower hardware sales. And then the next is talk about Apple's greatest strength. Its ecosystem. About the ecosystem, this is a group of product of services that work together smoothly. And then Apple has created one of the strongest ecosystems in the world. For example, you may own an iPhone, Then you buy AirPods. Later, you purchase a MacBook. You store files in iCloud and you use Apple Music, and yeah, everything connects easily. And then photos appear across devices, and then the messages synchronize automatically, and then the files can be shared instantly. And also, the experience feels like simple and convenient. This creates a powerful advantage. And then you know that the customers can enjoy their convenience. And as a result, many of them choose to remain within the Apple ecosystem. This is what we call customer retention. The ecosystem makes switching to competitors more difficult. It's it's not because customers are forced to stay, but also because the experience is comfortable and connected. This is why Apple's ecosystem is so valuable. The company is not simply selling the products. It also creates an entire digital experience, and also the ecosystems uh, as the ecosystem as a competitive advantages. Many competitors can create smartphones, and also many companies can create laptops, and then but building a complete ecosystem, it is much more difficult. Mm, Apple's ecosystem creates the convenience, and then loyalty, and then long-term relationships, and then competitive advantage. This is one of the reasons how Apple remains successful. The company focuses on not only on the products, but also on the connection between products. And next, despite its success, Apple faced another important questions. Um, the first question is, should its ecosystem remain mostly closed, or should it become more open? Yeah. Then, traditionally, Apple prefers a closed ecosystem, and its services work best with Apple devices, and this gives customers a premium experience. Apple can maintain quality control and protect its brand image. However, there is also a disadvantage. A closed ecosystem limits growth. Only Apple users can fully enjoy many services. If Apple made more services available to Android and Windows users, it could reach a much larger audience. Companies like Netflix and Spotify, it's also available almost everywhere. Uh, this helps them attract more customers, but becoming too open may weaken Apple's unique ecosystem advantage. This is dilemma. Should Apple prioritize exclusivity, or should it prioritize scale? There is no perfect answer. This is one of the strategic trade-off, and then business what is it? Business leaders often face about similar decision. And then the next is about uh, okay. Let's connect to this case study to the education. At first, Apple and schools may seem very different. However, there are important similarities. Many schools focus mainly on enrollment, and then students join the school. They study and then they graduate, and also then the relationships end. But Apple teaches a different lesson. Organization should build long-term relationships, but the schools can create about the educational ecosystem. For example, the alumni communities, and then the career mentoring programs, and then professional networking, and then online learning platforms, and then lifelong learning opportunities. From that all, it keeps students connected even after they graduate. They even they graduated from the school. From this one, the relationship continues. Just like Apple maintains relationship with customer through its ecosystem. And then schools also face a challenge similar to Apple's. And then should they remain exclusive and focus on quality, or should they expand to reach more students? A smaller system may offer stronger quality control, and then the large system may create greater impact, and then leaders must find the right balance. And this is very important lesson from Apple's strategy. And then let's talk about the relationship. Not relationship. Leadership lesson. One of the most interesting aspects of Apple's story is leadership. Steve Jobs and Tim Cook have very different leadership styles. Let's talk about style from Steve Jobs. It was visionary, and then creative, and then innovative, and then inspirational. He focused on creating revolutionary products. And now let's move to Tim Cook's. The style from Tim Cook's is strategic, and then analytical, and then operational, and then system oriented. And you know that he focused on building sustainable growth. Both leaders were so successful, but they succeeded in different situations. Steve Jobs helped create Apple's revolution, but Tim Cook helped expand and strengthen the company. This teaches us an important lesson. There is no single perfect leadership style. From the different situations, it requires different types of leadership. And then good leaders understand what their organizations need at the particular moment. Uh, in conclusion, Apple's transformation in 2020, it was not simply about technology. It also about strategy. And then the company recognized that hardware alone wouldn't guarantee future growth. As a result, Apple expanded its services and strengthened its ecosystems. This allowed the company to create about the revenue and then about improving the customer loyalty and build long-term relationships. Yeah, build long-term relationships. And then, from this story, it teaches us several important lessons. What are they? First, we can adapt when the circumstance changes, and then we can build a system, not just a product, and we can focus on long-term relationships, and we can balance the quality and also the growth, and then we can develop leadership that matches these situations. From this, these lessons can apply not only technology companies, but also apply to schools and then organizations and then future leaders. In the future, the most successful organizations may not be those that sells the most products. Instead, they will be the organizations that create the strongest relationships and also the ecosystem. Okay, yeah. This is enough from my learning video. I hope from this one it can help us better understand about strategic leadership and then innovation and also the long-term organizational success. So thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.